Hello. Well, I'm still alive, but hardly. I've been to hell and back the last few days, so I'm going to be a bit faded today. I haven't got my glamour looks on, but I just thought I had to do it because I got to relate the story. It's called a hospital drama, and it was a drama, and it's not going on so much now, but I hope I can finish the video in time. It started off 3 days ago when I had such a dreadful pain in my leg I was concerned, so I rang the UK medical phone call and they talked you through certain things, and she said you must get to hospital. This is 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, I should have listened to my intuition. I didn't. I think the lesson is, well, I'll tell you what the lesson is afterwards. See if you can work it out. And so I really shouldn't have done it. I sat with the phone and I was hesitating. Should I ring somebody? Should I not? And she was a very helpful lady, but of course they're doctors. They haven't seen the leg. This is my damage in my car accident. And it was just so painful. Every time I moved, I was screaming with agony. Now, I didn't know what it was. I usually know, but I didn't. So anyway, she said, I'll send a taxi for you. This is 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to sit here for a whole hour in the cold, waiting for this taxi to arrive. And he was a horrible man. He never stopped talking. Dropped me off at the hospital. So I booked in, and of course the next few hours you're waiting to see somebody. I did eventually see somebody. I had a pre-assessment to start with. I think he was Japanese, and I saw him coming. He reminded me of one of these samurai warriors, just the way he was, poor man. And he looked at my leg. He couldn't see anything wrong. He kept poking. He said, well, you can't tell me where the pain is. And I said I couldn't. And so I was more or less dismissed. I had x-rays and blood tests, and then I left for home about sort of 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I suppose. Just got in. Oh yes, I had a taxi to take me home, which I had to pay for, £50. I didn't pay for the other one, I paid for the second one, £50. Just got in, the phone went, she said, we've got to recall you. We think you've got a blood clot. Can you imagine how I felt? After just gone through all that, I just got in. I'm not a well person to start with. I said, I can't. She said, you're going to come in, you're going to have medication. She was quite bossy. Second lesson, bossy women. But she meant well, of course, and nobody knows for sure what's going on. So I panicked. I thought, how am I going to get there? I can't afford another taxi at £50. I've got no one to talk to, no one to ask to help me. I did think of one chap, and I went to see him, and he'd gone to hospital. So I thought, well, it's up to me. I've got a decent car. I've got to drive 25 miles with this bad leg and possibly a blood clot in it to the hospital again. Park up, and it's a nightmare parking up hospitals, as you know. So I parked up and had a very nice ambulance man chat me up, and then was sat there again for several hours. It was, I can't, I mean, do you know what waiting rooms are like? If anybody's been to a waiting room, you know what it's like. It's full of people that you've never seen before. You wouldn't see them on the street. It's like, I'm going to check the video thing. Oh. You sit there and you've got a peculiar person next to you, and you know, it's hundreds it seems like, and a little trolley with little water jugs on it. No, you can't get drinks, you can't get water, you can't get snacks. They've taken all those little things down because of the COVID virus. So all you get are these little individual jugs, and nobody was drinking water. They're all dehydrated. And I looked around and I thought, it's like one of these sci-fi films, you know, when you have the underground generation, people living in the underground, the dark and, you know, weird, you know, and uneducated and all the stuff. They were all in this place. I'm not being judgmental, it was just a completely different dimension, I suppose. It would be perhaps a 3 or 4, I don't know. But they all looked, I don't know, weird. I thought, do they all need to be here? They probably go to the A&E for a cut, you know. And meanwhile, there was an ambulance man or a policeman wandering up and down. I suppose they were things they have to look after. I was just aware that every now and then someone saw me sitting there, and it was like a recognition. Isn't that peculiar? Like, it was like they looked at me twice, wondered who I was, and I felt that it was like a connection. 2 or 3, it was either an ambulance man or a policeman or somebody in authority. I thought, I wonder if that's what I'm here for. Maybe they sent me there to connect with these people, because there's the new age thing. And I'm one of these light workers, like we all are, connecting up. Maybe they sent me. Maybe all this is just a ruse to get me out, and meet the people. I don't know. Anyway, I sat there for another 2 or 3 hours, and there's one old chap in a wheelchair, and I thought he was passed out through lack of water. I said, would you like a glass of water? And his wife looked and said, oh dear, he's got a wife. And when I got there, I suddenly found a pack of sandwiches on the seat. Now, I don't know where they came from. I think Spirit put them there because I'm always hungry. So whether they put them there or not, I don't know. Always peculiar things were happening, and because you've got nothing else to think about. You're observing, watching people all the time, and everyone was coming and going, doctors and nurses, but nobody in the crowd seems to be moving. You're sitting there for hours, and what they're all doing, we don't know. Anyway, I had all these tests, and so I had to go back a second time. I'm not very well, I can't even send an email. My writing's gone peculiar. I think I know what's happening, which I'll tell you in a minute. Anyway, so I was ushered into another room where they took the most peculiar examination. They got a special machine where they check the veins in your legs. They squeeze them and check them to make sure there's nothing wrong. And there was a blockage, but I think it's muscular. I think it's just pain, So anyway, we had this examination, and then I had to go and wait again. Apparently I had to wait for 3 hours before I could do anything else. 3 hours. Oh no, when I got there, that's right, when I got there the second time, I was told I have to wait 3 hours before I could have this second test. They booked me in with this x-ray department or whatever it is, and I had to wait for 3 hours. Can you imagine someone like me, as busy as me, always doing something, thinking, talking, having to wait for 3 hours in an empty room with nobody there, nothing to do, no television, nothing to read. I should have prepared myself. I should have taken a book, but I was in a bit of a panic. There was one Chinese lady who was doing blood tests and stuff, and she was in and out, and she kept looking at me. You've only got 2 hours to go. Can you imagine having 3 hours in which to do nothing? Well, I suppose some people might like the idea. I mean, I couldn't really meditate. I tried that, but it's always, it's not the right place really for doing that. I kept jumping up and going outside for something to do. And she said, you're a fidget bum. I said, I know, I'm just so restless. I couldn't sit still for long because the pain in my leg was too great. My heart keeps palpitating. I think I've been in shock actually. I'm surprised I'm doing this today. I've just got so bored. Pain. The pain, I can't describe. My whole leg is red and swollen, and it's hard. And the pain goes shooting through. It's not like a pain. It's a pain I've never had before. It's a shooting pain, and apparently it's the nerve endings. So you see, when I got this in the middle of the night, I looked it up on the internet. It's called neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy. It's the inflamed nerve endings. Well, I think they are because of the damage. So of course, when I go to this Japanese doctor, I'm full of all this. I've made a big mistake for telling him what I thought it was. Which immediately pissed him off, of course. I should have done that. Anyway, I think it is that, but it wasn't at the time. So anyway, I came home, I drove home. What did I do then? I got my bus right. I had to go a second time. I can't remember. Do you know, I can't remember getting home. I can't remember. I know when I got in, I immediately went to bed because I was absolutely exhausted. I thought, I've got to get help. There's something not right. I knew there was something not right, and nobody was finding out. I've been to hospital. I did that. So around my local surgery, it's got something called Ask My GP, and you have to put it all in writing online, and they can't fit you in for 2 weeks at least. You know what it's like. Anyway, this apparently they got my notes from the hospital and they were concerned. So when I contacted them for help, they put me in touch with the doctor the very following day, like a travelling locum doctor. So I was very, very grateful because I knew there was something not right. So I went to this doctor and he was an absolute delight. He was like an angel. He was an angel from heaven, this doctor. He was kind, he listened, he was interested, and he looked at my leg. He said, "You've got an infection, what they call a soft tissue infection. Everything's a huge infection." So he's prescribed some antibiotics. It's very, very kind and helpful. I've got to take painkillers, but the antibiotics haven't yet set in, so it's still very painful, and it's worse when I lie down because I get the pressure on the leg is different than when you're standing up, so I can't do anything. If the place is a tip, it wants hoovering, it wants washing, even washing up. I can't stand for long to do anything, and I can't get any help, of course, you know. So I'm sitting here. Anyway, the upshot was I've survived it, and I'm asking myself, what did it all mean? Everything's got a purpose. Everything's got a purpose. And I keep, what's it all about? Was it to ground me by getting my legs damaged? And a thought came to me, and this may sound very ridiculous to some people, but it came to me. You've heard about the new earth, haven't you? That we're heading for this new earth. I felt I've shifted into a different dimension. Not the fifth dimension, but the new earth dimension. Because I had a reading, I went online that night, I had a lovely reading about what they call now, earthcraft. I was aware very much of the earth, and things were happening. When I was here, I could feel always people around me. My daughter, for instance, people around me that I knew, not visibly, but invisibly. They were just there. I thought, I've got to look after them. They want their tea, this, and that. I was in a different dimension mentally. And I can't seem to put my words together as well. I'm not thinking very clearly. Lots of things are happening around me. And I do feel a bit scared because I feel very disoriented. Well, it's partly the shock, I suppose, and partly with tablets. But that's what came to me, that this is a new... it's not like... I don't know, you can't call it ascension. It's more like a descension, but it's going sideways. It's like I'm not... When I was in the hospital, I was with all these people. They were the old earth, and I had gone into this new earth. It was quite frightening actually for a while because I couldn't relate to anybody. I felt very strange. So I if anyone's got any ideas, you know, this is something new for me, so I don't know, but I will survive it. And at the end of the video, I will just mention quickly, do you remember the last video? I was very upset with somebody who was doing some channeling, saying that everything was our fault. Well, I know what it was. It's come to me now, but it was a really upsetting situation because I was abused as a child, 6 or 7 years old. I won't go into it, but I was abused sexually. And I was told at the time, this is all your fault. So when this being said that through the channeling, it's all your fault, you could imagine I went right back and I had to deal with that very powerful image and message. I still haven't really worked it out, but there we are. So lots of solutions coming in, but there's always new ones being created, and I just hope this leg starts to improve soon. I've sent to Sainsbury's for a food drop. I shan't starve, but you know, it's just jobs you have to do, don't you? I mean, I can't have a shower for 2 weeks. I'm washing bits, but I can't get over the bath into the shower. Oh my darlings, I wish somebody was here to help me. Gosh, I'm going to have to go. Best of luck for whatever's happening to you. There must be something, I'm sure. Oh, take care of yourselves. God bless.